let's jump right into this explainer. If you're managing apple trees, whether it's a few in your backyard or a massive commercial orchard, you already know that protecting your harvest is everything. Today, we're tackling an absolute nightmare of a fungal disease, apple scab. Look at this number, 70%. That is the sheer scale of the threat we're talking about here. If you let this disease go completely unmanaged, it can literally wipe out up to 70% of your crop's economic value. And honestly, it gets worse. It can physically deform 95% of your fruit, leaving you with a harvest that you just can't sell and can't even store. It's a highly, highly aggressive enemy. To save your harvest, we're going to approach this like a medical diagnosis and treatment plan. We'll quickly cover 1. The apple scab threat, 2. Symptoms and disease life cycle, 3. Essential preventative orchard practices, 4. Chemical and biological controls, 5. Integrated pest management, and 6. Troubleshooting and common mistakes. Let's start with Section 1, the apple scab threat, understanding the enemy. The specific culprit we're dealing with here is called Venturia Inaequalis. It's a hemibiotrophic ascomycete fungus, which I know is just a really fancy way of saying it acts like a parasite. It feeds on living plant cells before eventually killing them off. But what makes this pathogen such a massive global threat is its crazy adaptability. There are at least 8 known physiological races of this fungus out there, meaning it is constantly evolving to overcome our tree's defenses. Moving to Section 2, symptoms and disease life cycle, diagnosing the orchard. You've got to know exactly what visual symptoms to watch out for. The very first signs usually pop up in early spring. Look for these olive green, velvety spots right on the undersides of young leaves. Later on, those turn into brown or black lesions on the developing fruit, leaving the apples cracked, corky, and completely misshapen. But here's the hidden danger a lot of growers actually miss. Severe infections cause premature leaf yellowing and drop. That deprives your tree of its ability to photosynthesize, it ruins next year's buds, and it completely wrecks the tree's cold resistance for the winter. Think of this pathogen's life cycle like an ongoing, high-stakes game of hide-and-seek. Over the winter, the fungus hides out in fallen leaves on the orchard floor. Then, in the spring, it launches a primary attack by shooting ascospores right into the wind, which land on your newly emerging leaves. Once it's established, it enters its summer phase, spreading rapidly via conidiaspores that just get splashed all over the tree by the rain, kicking off secondary infections all season long. But to pull off that devastating spring infection, the fungus needs a very specific environmental trigger. It requires about 10 hours of a continuous water film on the plant tissue, paired with temperatures right around 20 degrees Celsius or 68 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's dry, the spores just can't germinate.
All right, Section 3, essential preventative orchard practices, first line of defense.
Since the fungus overwinters in dead leaves, your absolute best move is to literally starve it out in the autumn. This is a brilliant proactive technique. Just spray a 5% urea solution right when the leaves start to fall. That blast of nitrogen stimulates beneficial saprophytic bacteria to rapidly consume the leaves, taking the fungus down with them. Then, follow that up by deep plowing the soil 20 to 25 centimeters down to bury whatever is left. And you know, genetics are literally half the battle here. Classic varieties like Stark Crimson or Golden and Red Delicious are highly susceptible, meaning they're going to require intense spraying. But if you plant resistant varieties, like the globally known Prima, Florina, or Liberty, or those incredible Bulgarian varieties like Bezapara and Marlena, you can save yourself countless hours of labor and grow much more sustainably. Section 4. Chemical and biological controls, acute treatments. When prevention isn't quite enough, we have 2 different paths for acute treatments. On the biological side, you've got natural solutions like Caraccio, which uses calcium polysulfide, or Zinergy, which actually stimulates the plant's own immune system to fight back. You can even use beneficial microbes like Athelia bombacina. On the flip side, we have our chemical controls, things like triazoles, SDHI inhibitors, copper compounds, and anilinoperimidines. These are fast-acting synthetic compounds designed to wipe out active infections. Now, if you're using that chemical arsenal, timing is absolutely everything. You want to use copper early in the spring. When it's chilly, under 10 degrees Celsius, switch to anilinoperimidines like Chorus. If a warm, wet infection window somehow slips by you, grab a triazole like Score 250 EC because it gives you this amazing 72-hour curative window post-infection. Later on, bring in SDHI inhibitors like Fontelis for strong systemic protection. And always mix in contact protectants like Capdan or Delon. Which brings us to Section 5, Integrated Pest Management, a holistic strategy. An effective IPM strategy means you aren't just blindly spraying. It's a holistic system. You need to actively monitor weather forecasting models to predict those 10-hour rain risks. You need to prune your canopy to increase airflow so your leaves dry faster. You've got to enhance your soil health with organic matter. And you need to strategically mix your contact protectants with your systemic curatives to build an unbreakable shield.
Finally, Section 6, Troubleshooting and Common Mistakes. Saving the harvest.
Even with the best plan, things go sideways. A lot of growers feel because of simple, preventable errors. Applying a systemic fungicide without mixing in a contact protectant? Bad idea. Forgetting to use a sticker adjuvant like Tampex right before heavy rain? That is a massive mistake. Without it, your expensive treatments will literally just wash off the leaves into the soil. And of course, failing to rotate your chemicals or skipping that crucial autumn urea spray just sets you up for failure right from the start.
And this leads us to the absolute golden rule of chemical application, the rule of 3. Never, ever use the exact same systemic fungicide more than 3 times in a single season. If you don't rotate your active ingredients, you are going to create a chemically resistant superfungus, and trust me, nothing will stop it next year.
Just a quick reminder before we wrap up, this explainer provides general educational advice. Because fungal development is so deeply tied to your local weather, you should always consult agricultural experts in your area for specific recommendations tailored exactly to your unique microclimate.
So armed with this comprehensive treatment plan, the ball is firmly in your court. Are you going to let apple scab claim 70% of your hard-earned harvest? Or are you going to take complete control of your orchard this season? Get out there, check those leaves, and protect your fruit.